Sound number 1. The Bloop. May 1997. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration was monitoring the Pacific Ocean with underwater microphones, hydrophone arrays designed to detect submarine activity and study ocean acoustics. The equipment recorded an extremely powerful ultra-low frequency sound. Duration, approximately 1 minute. Frequency profile, rising rapidly. Volume, massive. Detectable across 5,000 kilometers, over 3,000 miles. The sound was so loud it was picked up by sensors throughout the equatorial Pacific. Multiple hydrophones, thousands of miles apart, all recorded the same event. The source triangulation placed it near 50 degrees south, 100 degrees west, near the southernmost tip of South America, deep Pacific waters. NOAA scientists named it the Bloop, based on the sound's characteristic when played at increased speed. A rising frequency that sounds like a bloop when accelerated. The acoustic profile was biological. It matched the pattern of marine animal vocalizations. But no known animal can produce sound that loud. Not even close. Blue whales are the loudest known biological sound producers. Their calls reach 188 decibels, detectable up to 1,000 miles away. Impressive, but the bloop was detectable across 3,000 miles, several times louder than any whale. The sound profile suggested something massive, much larger than a blue whale, the largest animal known to exist. If biological, the bloop came from something enormous, something unknown. Initial speculation centered on an undiscovered giant sea creature, a massive unknown species lurking in deep Pacific waters. The acoustic profile supported this: rising frequency, biological pattern, enormous volume. But here's the problem. The frequency profile also matches icequakes. Large icebergs calving from Antarctic ice shelves create similar sounds. The National Ice Center later proposed this explanation: ice breaking away and crashing into the ocean. This would explain the volume. Massive ice displacement creates tremendous acoustic energy. It would explain the location. The source area is near Antarctica, where large icebergs form. It would explain the frequency profile. Ice fracture and water displacement create rising frequency sounds. But it doesn't explain everything. The bloop has never been recorded again. Icebergs calve regularly. Large events happen multiple times per year. Why was this sound unique? Why hasn't it repeated? The frequency profile matches both biological and geological sources. Scientists lean toward icequake, but cannot definitively rule out biological origin. Cannot explain why such a massive event hasn't recurred. Cannot fully account for all characteristics. The bloop remains officially unexplained. An enormous sound from the deep Pacific. Recorded once, never repeated. Possibly ice. Possibly biological. Definitely mysterious. Sound number 2. The hum. Locations worldwide report the same phenomenon. A persistent low-frequency humming sound, described as similar to a distant diesel engine idling, or a large truck rumbling far away. Constant. Droning. Maddening for those who hear it. The Taos hum. Taos, New Mexico. First reported in 1991. Residents complained of constant low-frequency noise, couldn't identify the source, couldn't escape it. Some people heard it. Others heard nothing. No pattern in who was affected. The Windsor hum, Windsor, Ontario. Reported since 2011. Loud enough to rattle windows, vibrate houses, disturb sleep, traceable to a rough geographic area, but no specific source identified. The Bristol hum, Bristol, England. Reported for decades. Low rumbling that some residents hear constantly. Others never detect. No industrial source explains it. No traffic pattern accounts for it. Similar reports from dozens of cities worldwide. Bondi, Australia. Largs, Scotland. Kokomo, Indiana. All describe the same phenomenon. Persistent low-frequency hum. No identifiable source. Affects some people, but not others. Scientific investigations have been conducted. Acoustic monitoring equipment deployed. Frequency analysis performed. The sound is real, it's measurable, it exists. The frequency range is typically between 30 and 80 Hertz, low enough to be difficult to localize. Low frequencies don't provide clear directional information to human hearing. Sound seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. Proposed explanations include industrial facilities, power plants, factories, ventilation systems, but investigations in multiple cities have ruled out nearby industrial sources. The hum persists in areas without significant industry. Other theories: underwater volcanic activity, tectonic stress, Earth's natural resonance, electromagnetic phenomena affecting inner ear. But none fully explain the widespread reports or the selectivity of who hears it. The most puzzling aspect: why some people hear it and others don't. Two people standing in the same location. One hears intense droning, the other hears nothing. Acoustic equipment detects low-frequency sound, but not always corresponding to when people report hearing it. Some researchers suggest individual variation in low-frequency hearing sensitivity. Perhaps certain people's ears are tuned to detect frequencies others miss, but this doesn't explain why the sound starts and stops for individuals, why it's reported more in some locations. The hum remains unexplained. Real acoustic phenomenon, measurable in some cases, source unknown, mechanism uncertain, effect on population selective and mysterious. Sound number 3. Upsweep. Since the early 1990s, NOAA hydrophones have been recording a sound in the Pacific Ocean. It's called upsweep because the frequency increases or sweeps upward in a regular pattern. The sound is continuous, always present, never stops. It's been recorded every day for over 30 years. Same pattern, same characteristics, always there. Frequency, between 20 and 100 Hertz. Ultra-low frequency, below normal human hearing range, but detectable by sensitive equipment. The pattern is distinctive, long trains of narrow-band upsweeping tones. Each sweep lasts several seconds, repeats constantly. The pattern is so regular, it seems mechanical, but no known mechanism produces it. Location: South Pacific Ocean, west of South America. Deep ocean waters. The sound has been triangulated to roughly 50 degrees south latitude, 140 degrees west longitude. Open ocean. No land, no obvious source. Volume varies seasonally. Louder in spring and fall, quieter in summer and winter. This seasonal variation suggests environmental factors. But what environmental cycle would drive continuous acoustic emissions? Initially, scientists suspected volcanic activity. Underwater volcanoes are common in this region. Pacific Ring of Fire extends into these waters. Submarine volcanism produces sound. Could explain continuous nature. But the regularity argues against volcanic source. Volcanism is episodic. Eruptions come and go. Hydrothermal vents vary in output. Nothing about volcanism is as regular as upsweep. Yet upsweep never changes pattern, just volume. Other theories: resonance of seafloor structures, water flow through underwater canyons creating acoustic effects, biological source from unknown organism, tectonic stress creating continuous acoustic emissions. None fully explain the characteristics, the perfect regularity, the seasonal variation in volume, but not pattern, the decades of continuous operation, the specific frequency profile. Upsweep continues. Every day. Every year. Since at least 1991. Possibly earlier, but not recorded. A mystery of the deep Pacific. Regular as clockwork. Source unknown. Mechanism unexplained. Sound number 4. Julia. March 1st, 1999. NOAA hydrophones recorded another massive sound, similar to the bloop, but different characteristics. Loud enough to be detected across 5,000 kilometers. Originating from the equatorial eastern Pacific, named Julia, after the character from the novel 1984. For no particularly clear reason other than NOAA needed a designation. Duration: approximately 15 seconds. Much shorter than the bloop. Frequency profile: broadband sound with most energy in the 15 to 43 Hertz range. Lower frequency than the bloop. The acoustic signature was massive, extremely powerful source. Volume comparable to the Bloop, suggesting something enormous, either in size or energy release. Location triangulation placed the source near the coast of Antarctica. Southern Pacific waters, deep ocean, remote location. Similar area to the Bloop, but not identical. The sound profile resembles ice-related events, specifically iceberg running aground, large iceberg scraping along seafloor, or calving from ice shelf and impacting ocean. This would explain the volume, the frequency characteristics, the location. But here's what's strange. Icebergs ground and calve regularly. Antarctica sheds ice constantly. Why was Julia unique? Why so loud compared to typical ice events? Why hasn't similar magnitude been recorded since? The acoustic profile doesn't perfectly match known ice events. It's close, but not identical. Something about Julia's signature is unusual. Doesn't fit standard iceberg acoustic models perfectly. Alternative explanations have been proposed. Underwater avalanche, submarine landslide, tectonic shift, biological source from unknown creature. None are satisfactory. Like the Bloop, Julia was recorded once, never repeated. Not in 26 years since. Whatever created that sound, it either happened once or happens so rarely we haven't caught it again. NOAA officially classifies Julia as likely ice-related, but cannot explain the magnitude, cannot explain the unique signature, cannot explain why such events aren't recorded more frequently. Julia joins the Bloop in the category of massive ocean sounds, recorded, measured, analyzed. Source suspected but not confirmed. Characteristics partially explained, but not fully understood. Officially unexplained. Sound number 5. Sky trumpets and skyquakes. For centuries, people worldwide have reported hearing mysterious sounds from the sky. Not thunder, not aircraft, something else. Loud booms, rumbling, sometimes described as trumpets, or grinding metal, or enormous engines. Historical records document these reports, called Seneca guns in the Carolinas, reported since the 1800s. Mist puffers in the Netherlands and Belgium. Barisal guns in Bangladesh. Different names, same phenomenon. Modern reports continue, often recorded on video, posted online, verified by multiple witnesses. Clear audio captured on phones and cameras. The sounds are real. The question is, what creates them? Characteristics: loud booming or rumbling. Duration from seconds to several minutes. Sometimes rhythmic, sometimes sustained. Often described as metallic or mechanical. Loud enough to shake windows. Rattle houses. Wake people from sleep. Locations, reported globally. No geographic pattern. Coastal areas. Inland regions. Mountains. Plains. Urban centers. Rural areas. No consistent environmental factor. Timing. No pattern. Reported in all seasons, day and night. No correlation with weather patterns beyond general observation that some occur during overcast conditions. Scientific explanations proposed include atmospheric phenomena, temperature inversions creating acoustic ducting, sound from distant sources traveling unusual distances through atmospheric layers. This would explain sudden loud noises from no apparent local source. Skyquakes might be sonic booms from distant aircraft, military jets breaking sound barrier, sound traveling through atmospheric ducts and appearing to come from sky overhead. This works for some cases, not all. Meteors entering atmosphere create sonic booms. Bolides exploding in upper atmosphere produce tremendous sound. If witnessed, this explains events. But many sky trumpet reports have no visible meteor. No astronomical observation correlates. Tectonic activity can produce sound. Earthquakes generate acoustic energy. Tectonic stress releases sound before earthquakes. Earthquake lights, and sounds reported before major quakes. Could explain some sky sounds near fault zones. Doesn't explain those far from tectonic activity. Aurora borealis creates sound. Rare but documented. Crackling and swishing sounds during intense auroral displays. Mechanism uncertain. Perhaps electrical discharge? Perhaps acoustic effects from charged particles. Could explain some high-latitude reports. Not equatorial ones. The problem: no single explanation accounts for all reports. Each proposed mechanism works for some cases. None work for all cases. The variety of descriptions suggests multiple phenomena being reported under the same name. But some reports remain genuinely mysterious. Loud, sustained sounds. No identified source. Multiple witnesses. Clear recordings. No atmospheric conditions explaining acoustic ducting. No seismic activity. No military flights. No astronomical events. Just sound. From the sky. Unexplained. Sound number 6. The 52 Hertz whale. 1989. U.S. Navy hydrophones detected a whale call. Unusual frequency. 52 Hertz. Higher than normal whale vocalizations. Blue whales call at 10 to 39 Hertz. Fin whales at 20 Hertz. Humpback whales at a few hundred Hertz, but in different pattern. 52 Hertz is wrong for known species. The call pattern matched whale vocalizations, repeating sequences, duration and intervals typical of baleen whales. But the frequency was off. Too high for blue or fin. Wrong pattern for humpback. Most importantly, the whale was alone. Migration tracked. Same individual detected year after year, always alone, never with other whales. Traveling typical migration routes, but solitary. The whale has been tracked for decades. 1989 to at least 2014, same acoustic signature, slightly shifting frequency over time as the whale ages, but always alone, always calling, never answered. Marine biologists dubbed it the loneliest whale in the world, a whale calling at the wrong frequency, unable to communicate with others of its species, or perhaps the only one of its species, calling into silence. Why 52 Hertz? Theories include hybrid whale. Blue whale-fin whale hybrid might produce intermediate frequency, anatomical deformity causing unusual vocalization, or unknown species. A whale type we haven't identified. The whale's existence isn't in question. It's been recorded for decades. Multiple hydrophone arrays have tracked it. The acoustic signature is clear. What remains unknown is why. Why does this whale call at this frequency? Is it trying to communicate? Does it know it's calling at the wrong pitch? Can it hear other whales calling at normal frequencies? Is it truly alone? Or are there others we haven't detected? Most haunting question: is this a species of one? The last member of an unknown whale type? Or an anomaly? A single individual with unusual vocal apparatus, making it unable to communicate normally. The whale continues its migrations, continues calling, 52 Hertz, into the ocean, into silence. Year after year, lonely voice in the deep, mystery of the sea. Sound we can record but not explain. Sound number 7. Slow down. May 19th, 1997. NOAA hydrophones recorded another unusual sound, several weeks after the bloop. Different characteristics, different mystery, named slow down. Because the sound decreases in frequency over time, 7 minutes duration, frequency dropping from about 80 Hz to 30 Hz. Slow, steady decrease, like a machine powering down. The sound was loud, not as loud as the bloop or Julia, but still detectable across 1,500 kilometers, nearly 1,000 miles. Significant acoustic power, large source, or extremely efficient sound production. Location: Equatorial Pacific Ocean, west of South America. Similar region to other mysterious sounds. Deep Pacific waters. Remote area. Source triangulation gave approximate location, but not specific origin. The acoustic signature is peculiar. Very regular frequency decrease. Too regular to seem natural. Sounds mechanical, like someone slowly reducing power to a motor, or a turbine spinning down. Steady, predictable change. This regularity is what makes it mysterious. Natural phenomena are chaotic. Ocean sounds vary. Biological sounds have irregular patterns. Geological events are episodic. Nothing in nature shows this kind of steady, linear frequency decrease. Unless it's ice. Again, the iceberg explanation. A large iceberg could create descending frequency if it's calving or breaking apart in a way that changes the acoustic cavity. As structure changes, resonant frequency changes. Could produce descending tone. But the duration is odd. 7 minutes of steady frequency decrease. That's a very slow process. Iceberg calving is usually more dramatic. Sudden fracture, not slow, steady change, unless it's a very large berg undergoing gradual structural failure. Other theories: underwater volcanic activity, lava flow interacting with seawater. As flow slows or changes, sound frequency could decrease. But volcanism is more variable, not this regular. Biological source seems unlikely. No animal maintains constant vocalization with steady frequency decrease for 7 minutes. Whale songs change frequency, but not in this mechanical pattern. This sounds artificial, which raises disturbing possibilities. Could it be human-made? Submarine activity? Military test? Underwater equipment? The regularity suggests machinery, but no nation has claimed responsibility. No known submarine was in the area. No test was announced. Could it be unknown technology? Secret underwater installation? Experimental equipment? This ventures into speculation, but the sound's characteristics don't match natural phenomena well. Match artificial mechanisms better. Slow down remains unexplained. Recorded once, never repeated. Too regular to seem natural, too mysterious to be artificial. Sound without satisfactory explanation. Pattern without known cause. Sound number 8. The train from space. Space is silent. Vacuum doesn't transmit sound. No medium for pressure waves. Spacecraft operate in silence despite what movies show. The cosmos is quiet, except it's not. Space produces something that becomes sound when converted. Electromagnetic waves. Plasma waves. Radio frequency emissions that can be transformed into audio. NASA's Van Allen probes recorded emissions from Earth's radiation belts. Electromagnetic waves generated by charged particles. When converted to audio frequencies humans can hear, they sound like a train. Not metaphorical train. Actual train whistle and rumble. Clear locomotive sounds. From space. From Earth's magnetosphere. Natural electromagnetic emissions that sound exactly like a train when frequency shifted into audible range. This is called chorus, or Whistler mode chorus. Electromagnetic waves in the audio frequency range, generated by interactions between solar wind particles and Earth's magnetic field. Physics understands the mechanism, but here's what's eerie. Why does it sound like a train? The electromagnetic signature, when converted to audio, produces recognizable mechanical sounds. Whistles, chugging, rumbling. Not random noise. Structured sound. Familiar sound. It's coincidence. Physics of charged particle interactions happens to produce frequency patterns that resemble mechanical sounds. Our brains pattern match and hear trains. But the resemblance is uncanny. Perfect train whistle, exact rhythm of locomotive. Other space sounds are equally mysterious when converted to audio. Jupiter's radio emissions sound like alien music. Saturn's rings produce ethereal tones. Pulsars create rhythmic beats. When electromagnetic signals become audio, space has a soundscape. The question isn't whether space produces these signals. We know it does. We understand the physics. The question is why they sound like familiar things. Why trained ear musicians hear melodies in pulsar signals. Why electromagnetic noise from planets sounds musical. Perhaps it's pareidolia. Pattern recognition, seeing meaning in randomness. Our brains evolved to find patterns. We hear music in noise, see faces in clouds, find meaning in chaos. Or perhaps the universe operates on mathematical principles that manifest as both electromagnetic patterns and acoustic patterns. The same equations governing both, making them similar when translated. The music of the spheres, not metaphor, but mathematics. The train from space isn't unexplained scientifically. We know what creates it. We understand the physics. What remains mysterious is why it sounds so intentional, so designed, so familiar. Like the universe is speaking in language we almost understand. Sound number 9. Seneca guns. The coast of North Carolina. Reports going back hundreds of years. Loud, unexplained booming sounds, like cannon fire, but no cannons, no obvious source, named Seneca guns by locals. The mystery remains. Characteristics: sudden loud boom. Duration brief, single event or series of booms. Loud enough to shake buildings, rattle windows, heard across wide area. No visible source, no flash, no smoke, just sound. Frequency of occurrence: irregular. Sometimes multiple events in a week, then nothing for months. No predictable pattern. No correlation with tides, weather, or seasonal changes. Apparently random. Location: primarily coastal North Carolina. But similar phenomena reported globally. Barasal guns in Bangladesh. Mist puffers in Netherlands. Uminari in Japan. Same mystery. Different locations. No geographic connection. Modern investigations have tried to identify sources. Theories include offshore military activity, naval exercises, artillery testing, sonic booms from aircraft. But booms are reported when no military activity is occurring, no exercises scheduled, no flights in area. Pattern doesn't match military operations. Meteors, bolides entering atmosphere, sonic booms from space rocks. This explains some events, particularly when accompanied by visible meteor. But most Seneca gun reports have no astronomical observation, no meteor trail, no celestial event, earthquakes, tectonic activity, stress release producing acoustic energy, possible for seismically active regions. But Seneca guns are reported in areas with no significant seismic activity, no earthquakes correlate with events, underwater landslides, continental shelf collapse, turbidity currents, could produce booming sounds, especially in coastal areas. But geological surveys show no evidence of frequent underwater collapse, not enough to account for all reports. Atmospheric phenomena: temperature inversions, acoustic ducting, sound from distant sources traveling unusual distances. Possible, but doesn't explain consistency of reports in specific locations. Why same areas repeatedly? The most unsettling theory: we don't know. Multiple mechanisms might create similar sounds. Some events are meteors, some are military activity, some are seismic, some are atmospheric. We call them all Seneca guns, but they're different phenomena. Except some events resist all explanations. Clear recordings, multiple witnesses, no identified source, no military activity, no seismic event, no astronomical observation, just boom. From nowhere, unexplained. Sound number 10. The whistle. Location: various. Oregon, Washington, Montana. Remote forested areas. Reports going back decades. People hearing whistling in the woods. Not birds, not wind, something else. Described as clear, distinct whistle. Musical tone. Sometimes ascending, sometimes descending. Sometimes repeated pattern. Loud. Carries long distances. No visible source. The whistle is different from typical forest sounds. Not animal calls. Experienced outdoors people report it. People familiar with wildlife sounds. They know bird calls. No elk bugles. No mountain lion screams. This is different. Pattern, often responsive. Someone whistles. Whistle answers. Back and forth exchange, as if communicating. But no person visible, no source identified, just answering whistle from the forest. This raises questions. Is it human? Other people in the forest? Hikers? But why whistle from concealment? Why not emerge or respond verbally? The behavior is odd if human. Is it animal? Unknown species? But what animal whistles clearly enough to seem intentional? What animal responds to human whistles? Parrots mimic. Some corvids can learn sounds, but wild parrots don't inhabit Pacific Northwest forests, and corvids don't typically engage in extended whistle exchanges. Some reports suggest Sasquatch, Bigfoot, unknown primate whistling as communication. This ventures into cryptozoology, unverified species, no physical evidence beyond reports. More mundane explanations: wind through trees or structures creating whistling tones. Possible. Wind can produce musical sounds, but responsive patterns are harder to explain. Wind doesn't answer when you whistle. Acoustic effects, echoes with unusual characteristics. Your own whistle reflected back in ways that make it sound different, possible in certain terrain, canyons, rock formations, but reported in flat forests too. Hoaxes, people deliberately creating mystery, hiding and whistling, creating confusion. Certainly some cases are this, but all of them, for decades, in remote areas, pattern seems too consistent. The whistle remains unexplained, not dangerous, not threatening, just mysterious. Clear, intentional-sounding whistle, no source, no explanation, forest mystery, acoustic enigma.